SportemonGo has an ecosystem for sports fans that connects the physical and the virtual fan experiences. This does include NFTs, digital tokens. So with me to talk more about this is co-founder Corey Jackson. So great to have you here.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks for having us back.
Let's just start with, you've got a big deal lately that involves Russell Crowe, one of my favorite actors, actually. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we got the deal with the Rabbitohs football team in Australia. They'd be one of the biggest franchises known in Australia, but also globally. And since that deal's been done, our phone's sort of been ringing off the hook. It has really sort of blown up, our brand. And having someone like Russell attached to SportemonGo is, super exciting for us.
Yeah, congratulations on that. Now, so how do you set SportemonGo apart from other NFTs, other kind of digital sports entities out there?
Yeah, I think, it is quite interesting, the space. I think for us, we've got 30 years background in licensing, marketing, and collectibles. Ricky having sold over 220 million collectibles worldwide, and we did a fantasy game where we had over 4 million players. I think that combined with the ability to turn the physical and virtual world through AR and VR to innovate, products, I think that will sort of, keep us ahead of the game. We've actually got a revolutionary new NFT band, which is patented product, and which is sitting on my wrist just here. So we'll actually show you guys how that works as well.
Tell me, so that allows you to do what?
Yeah, so I think with NFTs, it's, currently it's, great to have an NFT and you can display a picture on Twitter or something like that, but, how can you show it and carry it around without the security risk of having your wallet exposed on your phone? So this actually gives you the ability to have a AR hologram, which actually floats sort of above the wrist using any mobile phone. So you can, with your mobile phone, it'll come up there.
And
so
you can show your NFT that way?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
So we'll show you guys a video of how that works, which is super exciting.
So just walk me through the whole experience. Like, this is for sports fans mainly, right? So what do they do? Do they go to an app, and how do they engage with the site? Yeah,
so once the NFTs are launched, so basically NFTs are done through a drop, or they call it a minting process, where they'll be for sale, so the ability to purchase those. Once they're purchased, they'll be able to sit in your wallet, and with the NFT band, you'll be able to upload them through a link to your AR NFT band, and they'll basically sit on your wrist, and you can have multiple on there, and it gives you the ability to show off to your friends and family of what collections you're holding, without having that security risk of your wallet.
So just talking about the NFT space in general. So we've got NFT Week here in New York this week. It's a huge. There are 3,000 people on the wait list to get into this. It's got a really big deal.
It's crazy. The NFT space since, I think January is when it really took off, and NFTs became a household name through some reputable brands like Top Shots. And, through their success in the NBA, it started to grow, and, there's companies coming out of the woodworks, and some good, some bad. But I think for the space in a whole, it's super exciting, and it's going to be a massive learning curve, over the next couple of years. And I'm really excited about to see what they do with NFTs. What is their actual, use case and utility? I think there's many different, utilities for it, whether it's, tickets to sporting events, music events, things like the band. There's going to be new technology coming out every few months, and that's what's really exciting. It's almost like, the internet, 3.0 almost.
Yeah, so finally, what are the goals for the next year for SportemonGo?
The goals for next year, we've signed some really exciting clubs like the Rabbitohs. We've got Hibernian Football Club and the Rangers FC, which is really exciting. We've got superstars launching from Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and West Ham. So their NFTs will be dropping in the next few months. But I think it's sort of building out our global business and, working to become one of the best tokenized global sports businesses, in the world. Awesome.
So great to hear about SportemonGo and get an update, and congratulations on your success.
Thanks Jane. I appreciate it.
Secure, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. Secure is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. Secure doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download Secure. Visit secure.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Global Diversified Marketing Group is a global multi-line consumer packaged goods company. It makes and packages foods and snacks like Italian wafers and other gourmet snacks. And with me is CEO Paul Adler to talk about the packaged goods industry. So first, give me an overview of your company. What are you doing?
So we basically develop, build, and look to acquire one-of-a-kind brands. And all these brands are in a consumer packaged goods, which, human consumption and many other things. Currently, we have about 25 SKUs, which are under 5 different brands, and each brand has numerous SKUs of its products, something like macarons, Italian wafers, and many other products. That's the basic main, business of our Global Diversified Marketing Group.
Now, I was reading that you are looking to expand into nutraceuticals. So first of all, explain what nutraceuticals and then why do you see that as a growth area?
Yes. So nutraceutical is a very high growth segment, which we're looking to get into as of right now. And basically a lot of products that has a lot of benefits to it. So we're actually getting into a supplement gummies, which will contain apple cider vinegar. Some of the gummies are going to be with collagen and also mushrooms. And all these gummies you can consume as a snack as well as gain benefits throughout the day.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of things about mushrooms lately.
Yes.
Actually.
And our particular mushroom gummy is going to have 10 mushroom complex. And one of the main ones is going to be a lion's mane.
So it's a gummy, like a mushroom gummy?
Mushroom gummy, exactly. It tastes good. It actually gives you a boost of energy and you're able to function very well, and it doesn't give you a side effect of a capsule.
Interesting. So, and do you see a lot of growth coming from that? I know people are really interested in eating healthier.
Right. Well, basically, if you look at the overall industry, it's a $117 billion industry. Just capturing 0.25% is a lot of growth there. Our main focus is going to be focusing on e-commerce, where we're going to be marketing a lot on Facebook and many other outlets, and delivering that growth direct to the consumer. That's the main goal.
Okay. And then do you have any plans to uplist? Your OTC, right?
We're over the counter right now, yes.
And then what are your plans for uplisting in the future, perhaps?
Yes, so we've been working on, making sure before we submit the application to the NASDAQ, have all the boxes checked. We already have, a certain percentage of those boxes checked, but we're still working towards getting everything in line so we could actually file the application and get it approved rather than rejected.
Right, yeah. So, and then what are your plans for the next 12 months?
The next 12 months, we're actually looking to grow and diversify our business in e-commerce. Currently, we're in 4,500 doors nationally, but our focus is really to deliver the e-commerce direct-to-consumer products. As we have seen over the last year and a half, a lot of people have been accelerating their buying through e-commerce channels, and that's exactly what we want to do.
That's the focus. Well, thank you so much, Paul. Very interesting.
Thank you.
To hear about this industry.
Yes.
Need hearing aids? Tired of paying $5,000 or more? Tired of making multiple trips to have your hearing aids adjusted? Now you don't have to. Our Hear IQ 4 medical grade hearing aids are fully rechargeable, Bluetooth compatible, and start at under $1,000 for a complete set or monthly payments of $44. Our hearing aids are self-adjusting using any smartphone and features remote programming by hearing care professionals without you ever leaving home. Order your pair today at myheariq.com.
LiquidNFTs.com allows you to use an NFT as collateral for a loan. And so with me, Peter Girr, founder, and also Devin, Marty, Director of Strategy, right? Yep. I got everything right, didn't I? Okay. So explain LiquidNFTs.com. I mean, I kind of gave an overview, but how'd you come up with the idea? Mister?
Well, just as people were more interested in NFTs have blown up over the past year, viewing them as an asset class, because normally when someone buys an NFT, they can't really use that money anymore. It's locked into that NFT until they sell it.
Right.
So we wanted to create a way where people didn't have to give up ownership of their NFT to be able to access that liquidity.
Okay, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's like a piece of real estate or something like that. I mean, let's just start with like NFTs in general. I mean, I think people know kind of what they are, non-fungible tokens. Can you maybe explain it for the average person?
Of course, yeah. So Peter alluded to it. It's a brand new asset class, right? So NFTs right now they're about celebrating artists, celebrating communities. I think that stays in perpetuity, but as this asset class evolves, yeah, like you said, it's about real estate. It's about this NFT represents this asset, and so what we're building here, we hope to. I think it will spark a renaissance in the NFT space for sure.
Yeah. So how does it work? LiquidNFTs.com.
So the owner of the NFT deposits their NFT in the smart contract, and then they create a proposal. So the proposal is going to give their specifications, like how long the loan is going to be, how much APY they are offering. That's what they're willing to pay on the loan, and how much, and currency type, all these specifications. Yeah. Then it goes into an attraction period. There's 5 days where anyone can come in and fund that loan if they think it's a good deal. Then after 5 days, once the loan has been collateralized, the loan goes into effect.
So how do you value the NFT?
That's a great question. You're right. So the value, what is the value of anything, right? It's really what the second person is willing to pay for it. So by allowing other people to come in and let the market essentially decide, that's how we do it. There's no third-party appraiser. We don't do it. It's fully decentralized.
That's what happens in that 5-day period?
Exactly.
Right.
So it's just total free market. Yep. Determines the value of it. So interesting. And then the loan is based on that.
Yeah.
Whatever it brings. What if nobody makes any?
You didn't set a fair market price.
Yeah. Well, during that 5-day period, you can adjust the APY you're offering and also adjust down the loan ask. Because for instance, if maybe you had an NFT that was worth 30 ETH, and if you're trying to get a 30 ETH loan, that's riskier for people collateralizing you. You can lower that amount until the money comes in.
I see. Now, the WISE ecosystem relates to LiquidNFTs.com. How?
So the WISE ecosystem is the greater ecosystem, and Liquid NFTs is a product within the ecosystem.
Okay.
And the way it relates is that Liquid NFTs is a not-for-profit endeavor, and the revenue that's generated from that goes back to the WISE token ecosystem. So people that hold WISE token and have it staked for longer than 1 year are earning the interest from Liquid NFTs.
Okay. How can somebody learn more about Liquid NFTs or WISE?
Yeah, LiquidNFTs.com.
Okay. That's where you go.
Yeah, and for WISE token on Twitter, it is WISE_token on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, Strikeforce Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
Games is hyper-focused on changing the landscape of the gaming economy. It has 8 of the top 100 gaming mobile titles. And with me is Rob Towles, the CEO.
Hi. Nice to see you,
great
Jane.
to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
So give me an overview of Ink Games.
Well, we are the first company in the space to connect all users in the game space to participate in the revenues for the whole industry.
Interesting.
Right?
So users of the games participate in the revenue.
Absolutely. So, but not just for influencers and creators and people that are handpicked by the company. But anybody with what's called an Inc. ID, basically a user profile, will have access to the platform, can invite others, build these massive networks, viral reach, and actually get paid for their influence. So it's not just the big guys, but it could be a high school TikToker, it could be a casual older player, female, male, doesn't matter. And so our goal is to add over 1 billion users to this platform and pay them through the economy of games.
Yeah. So, and I saw you have some really electronic arts, right? You're working with them, Zynga?
Yeah, we have, our team is comprised of a lot of guys from a lot of AAA studios. And so it was tough to get them, right? Because they go through different exits. So for the past 10 years, there's been a lot of exits and a lot of movement, non-competes.
Right.
And so late 2017, we started trying to really focus on, putting the band back together and do something great. And getting them back from backpacking around Europe from the last exit. So now, we started building out in Austin, Texas this time.
Yeah, and you moved to Austin. So how's that? This seems like a great ecosystem there for what you're doing.
It's great. Yeah, I feel pretty lucky. So I go back and forth between Orange County, California, and Austin, Texas. We're spending more and more time in Austin. I think 90% of our team is in Austin now.
Okay.
So it's great. We're busting out the seams. So we're building a new headquarters at a place called the Domain.
Okay.
So great restaurants and bars, all the stuff that gamers need
all the
to
stuff
develop.
they love when you're young and want to get out after a hard day's work.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just got a Series A funding?
We did.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, we just closed a Series A, so mostly strategic and high net worth investors. So the company's in good shape right now. We're debt free, well funded. We actually just launched a B round that is going well also. So the idea is with these rounds is we want to keep on building the team, obviously, expand our footprint, and we're looking at maybe bringing on some other small studios so we could gather their teams.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What were your goals with the money? Expansion.
So the space is so hot right now, and there's so much consolidation going on that it's hard to actually get really, really great talent. So the best way to get talent is, every single one of our employees has shares in the company.
Okay.
So that's done day one. The second thing is trying to get some of these small studios that have great titles, maybe they don't have distribution yet, but to actually fold them up into the company. So we'll continue to do rounds and bring on these great titles so we can get full margin on those.
And keep going. So, and you were named Entrepreneur of the Year?
Yeah. It's I don't know. I cast a big vision and hire a bunch of people smarter than myself, and then they give you that award, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
So tell me about Inc. Games. What's your goal, say, for the next 12 months?
So goal for the next 12 months, we do have an in-house title by the name of Prize Kingdoms that we're building right now. It's a board game. It's a play on almost like Monopoly, but with real prizes. So we're the first guys to actually build technology into our game, a sweepstakes engine to where people actually win real physical prizes in this ecosystem. So don't be surprised if there's not Lamborghinis given away in this game, and there's all kinds of cool stuff that's going to come.
Okay.
So you're actually winning real things in this game, but it's a really, really awesome AAA title. So the reason we're building that is the Inc. platform is a way to connect all users around the world so they can participate in all the revenues flowing through not just our games but third-party games. Okay. So we have an SDK. The first title being ran through that SDK is our in-house AAA game, Prize Kingdoms. And from there we'll start onboarding third-party titles and making them part of the economy.
Well, maybe I'll play Prize Kingdoms if there's a Lamborghini involved.
The Lamborghini, Louis Vuitton, you name it. I'm desperately trying to get the guys to put a real human claw machine in there that's massive to where you can pick up big prizes from around the world. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Thanks so much, Rob, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you again.
Thanks.
Yeah, take care.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, Strikeforce Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
NFTrade allows people to create, buy, sell, swap, and farm NFTs. With me is Ori Levy from Israel, coming here for NFT Week in New York. And let's just start with NFTs in general. I mean, the market has just absolutely exploded over the past year. I mean, you're right in the middle of the industry. How do you see it?
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. Actually, if we look at the stats, we can see that the whole of 2020, $200 million were traded at the whole year, and this year we're seeing the same volumes per day.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Beeple really kind of, I think, brought the industry to the forefront. So
yeah, Beeple is the one that showed everyone that artists that put the effort and make digital art can actually finally make money out of it.
Yeah, interesting. Beeple and I went to the same university, by the way, so I'm kind of proud of that. Right. So tell me about NFTrade and how is it different in the NFT marketplace?
So NFTrade is not a standalone marketplace. It's more of an aggregator of all the marketplaces.
I see. Okay.
This is something we do in order to allow people to trade any NFT they buy anywhere, because right now the industry is kind of problematic in that sense, because you are stuck with the NFT on the blockchain and on the marketplace that you originally bought it. And that makes a huge problem with liquidity and also, the ability to trade NFTs with other NFTs.
Okay, so how do you know what makes an NFT valuable? I mean, it's just so much out there. I mean, will the cream rise to the top like we see in other creative industries?
So it's really hard, and you really have to do the research on any NFT before you buy it. But it's definitely driven with hype, from hype, and you have to know when to buy and when to sell if you're playing this game. Long-term holders with valuable NFTs are probably gonna kill it, but most of the NFTs that we're seeing today, with all these collections that popping up, just general advice, are probably not gonna be worth a lot in the future. This is, but there's a lot of stuff that are definitely valuable.
Yeah. Now, the Bored Apes, that's the one that's got a lot of attention as well. I mean, what made that take off?
I think that the fact that their community, well, first of all, they did some really nice art, and they were able to connect the community in a way that they felt like really big, one big community, and they are still. If you looked at the event they had here, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, there were thousands of people lining up to get in, and they all had the Bored Ape.
Yeah, they somehow caught on. They got attention there.
Yeah.
What would you change about the NFT ecosystem if you could? What still needs to be fixed?
Well, the main issue is the technological barrier and the amount of scams that easily get people without the technical knowledge. And solving that problem, allowing everyone to basically be able to get on an NFT marketplace and buy and sell NFTs without all these things they have to download, then that's going to make things a lot easier.
Yeah, because I actually bought an NFT, and I did it on my mobile device, but I had trouble on my laptop. It took me, anyway, story for another time. But
I'll help you after.
Yeah. So finally, I mean, just talk to me about your company and the NFT market in general. Where do you see it going in the next year?
So it's really hard to tell, but I think that gaming is definitely one of the largest industries that NFTs will take over. We're already seeing this with about 5 to 10 games popping up every day that are using NFTs. But actually, NFTs can be used for physical items, tickets, real estate. So there is a lot of things that it hasn't yet.
It has a lot of applications.
It has a lot of applications.
Well, very interesting. Thank you so much, Roy, for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
PetProducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company.
Kylin has created a cross-chain platform powering the data economy. And so with me, Dewdney, Chief Stratosphere Officer at Kylin, and also Ben Lakeoff, the Chief NFT Advisor. And so let's just start. You were talking a little bit about NFT3. So that's a new concept. I thought I knew a lot about NFTs. It's a new concept. Explain what that is.
Oh, yeah, I'd be pleased to. So NFT3, the name is sort of, so it's like NFT cubed. So it's a new dimension of understanding what NFTs can do. So typically we think of NFTs as sort of this collectible thing, this art thing, and that's great. I think it serves an amazing purpose from that point of view. But there are many other sort of operationalizations and I guess applications of NFTs above and beyond that. One of them that's truly important to Kylin Network is this idea of identity. So for decentralized data markets to really exist effectively, especially from the individual perspective, where you could, for example, think about uploading, we've talked about this before, uploading your genome and then, researchers accessing it and getting paid, you'd need to have some sort of virtualized, unified, decentralized, it's a lot of qualifiers, identity layer, right? You'd have to have some referent back to an entity or an individual. And this is indeed what we are going to be launching soon with this, I don't want to call it a side project, it's actually quite an important project. It's a synergetic major project working with Kylin Network.
Okay, so this would be a way to store data, basically, right? Because we don't have that with generic, like regular NFTs. Right, so this is different, or it's a way to understand identity without needing to identify a person. What we do is we take an NFT, and why you say, okay, identity, great. There are different ways to build up identity. Why NFTs? NFTs have proven themselves to be an extremely powerful way for human beings to interact with this basic technology layer of crypto, right? And we've truly seen that evidence. Like if you look around New York today, it's like NFT everywhere. Oh my gosh,
it's
yes.
like everywhere, right? Yeah. You don't see Alexis Ohanian showing up to the Met Gala with his Ethereum wallet address on his suit, lapel. It's a CryptoPunk, right? So the tangibility of NFTs is truly important as this sort of adoptive vehicle or layer. When it comes to identity, if we're trying to get many people onto this virtualized identity layer of NFT3 that will interoperate with projects like Kylin, then indeed we need to have some really powerful adoptive vehicle and technology for that. But and I could go on and on about how great NFT technology is, but I've got our advisor here, Ben, who has a wonderful project, Charged Particles, and they're really invested in these ideas as well. And he's our advisor for NFT3.
Okay.
He's a great
So let's toss it to Ben then. So tell me about Charged Particles and just NFTs in general. Where is the industry right now?
Yeah, sure. So like Dylan said, chaos right now in New York City, right? But
fun chaos.
Charged Particles, I'm co-founder and business lead there. It's an NFT protocol that allows you to deposit assets inside of your NFT. So we've been pushing this narrative for a long time that an NFT is not just a collectible, it's not just a JPEG.
Okay.
It's any digital media file that can be attached to a unique token. But then you have all of these other use cases. NFT3 is a perfect example of like this crucial missing piece of identity that can be used using NFTs, which kind of blows people's minds. So my mind is blown. That was the exact words I was thinking. So
like, walk me through the process. Like, how does it work for the average person? They could have this NFT3 and they would be able to use it for what exactly?
Yeah, and I'll jump in there because I think it's really important for me to speak to it. But so you have a non-transferable, so it's like, how does it work? You have a non-transferable NFT, right? So you open an account, and then you are able to basically undertake what I call like a data journey. So in the next 5 years, I truly think this business model of the internet, which right now is, you are the product, I'm the product, and I'm sort of making this bargain that I'm going to get some great software, get some connections with people,
right.
And I'm going to get advertised to effectively. We've gotten some great things out of that through, I can't discount it. But I truly think that in the next 2-3 years, it's going to be very rapid. This whole business model is going to be turned on its head. And the reason why is because we are setting down the decentralized infrastructure right now from the financial use case application. But there are other use case applications that are going to be coming to the fore in the next couple of years. And this is true for identity. So we have an NFT, we have this adoptive vehicle, but we also have this really, really, really key piece of technology, which is decentralized identifiers. Now, we're not smart enough to have made it up. A bunch of other smart people made it up. It's this new standard that the World Wide Web Consortium has approved recently within the past 3 months. That is basically this new identity standard, not just for crypto, but for the entire internet. So Web 2, Web 3, it doesn't matter. And just to give you some idea about how important this standard is, the last major standard that they approved was, I think, like HTTPS. Okay, so they don't approve standards very, very often. So decentralized identifiers are this technology that we use with NFTs so that we have this nice, tidy way for people to have a referent to people's data journeys, whether they're Web 2 or Web 3. So say that I open up my account, I get ISME, which is the native token of NFT3. I stake some amount to have an activated NFT3. And then other application layers are able to use my decentralized identifier, which we know is real because it's attached to activated, if you will, or staked NFT3. And then all of a sudden, I've got this like trail of breadcrumbs, like Hansel and Gretel, throughout all these data journeys, right, that anybody could undertake. So, we use this example of genomics, but there's so many others. Applications like, under collateralized loans, we can assess credit risk or worthiness of an individual. It's really like this sky's the limit in understanding how this infrastructural layer could affect people in this really, really cool way and with innumerable cool applications, right?
Okay, so just tell me a little bit about this NFT industry right now. I mean, I feel like it's just exploded over the past year. I mean, how do you see it being on the front lines? Now starting to get the metaverse, so now I got to work on NFT3s, and it takes me a few times.
They call it a rabbit hole for a reason, right? You learn about one little thing, and before you know it,
well, thank you so much for coming and explaining. I'm sure we'll talk some more as we continue to explore this kind of interesting new world. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company. TradeStation Crypto is an online broker-dealer that allows users to trade stocks and futures, options, and also crypto. And with me is James Pooter, who is the Vice President of Product Strategy at TradeStation Crypto. So, James, great to have you.
Hey, Jane, thanks for having me.
So can we just start with TradeStation? Because I've heard of TradeStation for decades. When did TradeStation get into crypto and why?
So we got involved in crypto, I want to say, internally around 2015. We started mining. We built up a pretty sizable mining operation in-house, built an employee program. Then we came out with our trading business in 2019. So it took us that long just to build up our own knowledge to figure out actually what this asset class was.
Yeah, well, and that's been quite an interesting time to be in crypto. There's been a lot of things. So, and it seems like Bitcoin and Ethereum are getting more kind of legitimate in the public's eyes lately. We've got the ETF that just came out, and there's more in the pipeline. What are your thoughts about that?
So I think that it's becoming more adopted, more widely known. I mean, most people, if you've ever heard of crypto, you've heard of Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think the ETF futures product was a big step towards, let's say, stamp of approval, if you can say that, by the SEC. It was really a nice support that this is starting to evolve into something that needs to branch out. For a long time, the spot markets have been the only way you could get exposure to Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other assets. You have Grayscale, which is that closed-ended trust, which is an interesting product, a little bit different than an ETF. And the ETF really unlocks access to a lot of capital. I think it's about $10 trillion of advisor money that's on the sidelines that can't get into crypto. And with ETFs, it opens up some of those potential avenues.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting. And you're certainly hearing a lot of institutional groups, banks, starting, and their customers are asking for this exposure. I mean, when you've got gains like what you're seeing, people want to be a part of that. I mean, and speaking of that, so we're at this moment, November 1st, talking about crypto right around 62, Bitcoin right around 62,000. Is there a price you're looking at where, it might stabilize, or is there a key price and why?
It's hard to put a actual dollar figure on it. What I tend to look at is the overall market cap. When you look at Bitcoin, this is a great example. It took us roughly 10 years to get to 1 trillion. It took us a year to get to 2 trillion. So the larger that pool becomes, the more stable the market will become. And what happens is that the pool is small. You can't get a lot of players in there. So you have a lot of retail people, maybe mid-sized funds. As the pool expands, you get more committed capital that isn't as able to move in and out as frequently. And that's where you start to see some price stability. I think really what has to happen is there's still a lot of demand. And until we work through all the people that would like exposure, it's going to be volatile as we add new products, remove products. Once you work through that initial burst of most people that have exposure have it, then we should see some price stability. It was interesting you mentioned the banks, because I think these guys are really getting pressure from their customers, not only just to hold it, but there's a lot of discussion around how do I take trade settlement in these assets. I no longer want to, I might not want to go back into dollars after my trade. I might want to go back into Bitcoin or some other digital asset. And so some of the big custody banks are really trying to figure out, how do we support that business if our customers want a more real-time digital asset type settlement of my trades?
Oh, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that. And of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you've got, all these other coins out there. One I saw, the Shiba Inu coin was up 8 million% from like 0.00000 to 0.000 something. So, how do you see this all kind of shaking out? I mean, will some of these coins just go away, and we'll do global transactions in Bitcoin and Ethereum? I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
I always say I'm an unintentional Bitcoin maximalist, only because I don't have enough attention to look out to all these other coins. I do think there's some great, interesting projects out there. I tend to think that we're going to have a lot of these long tail, farther on the risk assets. I think most of them are going to collapse, primarily because this is typically what you see venture capital investing do, is going out to really find out these projects, go and do tests and see if they can become something. And now we're doing that with a lot of retail capital and individual investors. And it's risky, and you should really absolutely know what you're going into. I do think you're going to see the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum as still being the primary dominant players, with different level two things coming on top of it. Bitcoin Taproot is kind of interesting, where they're going to put on some layer 2 technology that can bring in smart contracts, reduce payments. Ethereum has some challenges too, where they have their product is still difficult to use or costly from a transaction perspective. So the more layer 2 type functionality they can layer in, the better it's going to become to actually use it. Now, outside of those two big ones, I really like anything that is a potential side hustle. I think that you saw big adoptions in Uber, Airbnb, Lyft. When there are crypto projects out there that let people sell or monetize their excess resources and build side hustles. For example, Helium is an interesting one. You put a router on your desk. It's like a $200 router, and it'll mine Helium just by sharing your internet. Filecoin is another one that's kind of interesting, that lets you share your Filecoin, lets you share your disk drive space through the token. So those things are quite interesting for me. But I'm not following so much Shiba. I know it's exciting. It's not something on my radar.
Well, what animal coin are we going to have next is what I'm wondering. By the way, Filecoin, I'm familiar with them. So yeah, that is a very interesting use, an application for this. What do you think it will take for mass adoption?
So time, for sure. This industry has brought in some of the smartest people in the world to try to solve these various problems. We started out in a world where there was only Bitcoin. Now there's several thousand different projects. What's very interesting is that you now have a place where there's a variety of different tools you can use, whether you want to have some type of utility or some type of currency. Those types of experiments and products are working their way through the system. As we start to evolve and become more sophisticated on these and build new businesses on top of them, that's when you're going to start to see more mainstream adoption.
James, thank you so much. Very interesting, this space is, and it will be, I'm sure, continue to be.
You're welcome. I really appreciate you letting me talk, and thanks for having me on. It's been a good conversation.
Thank you. Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company. Secure from Globex Data promises truly private and protected email and messaging. And with me, CEO Langahi, to update us on the company. And it seems like, Alon, every day we hear of some cyber hack, some attempted attack. I mean, there was one late last week with the Microsoft. And now there's some news about some groups that are possibly trying to hack some global telecommunication networks. Explain what's happening here.
Yes, it's pretty disturbing. What's happening is there's a couple of groups that are remaining fairly quiet or fairly anonymous that are hacking telecom operating networks. So it's no longer hacking people's individual mobile devices. It's a lot worse, essentially. Now they can go to the operator. We've had articles where T-Mobile was hacked, Verizon. Don't know about AT&T, haven't read lately, but basically it's not just a US operator. They can go to the networks of global operator to hack. There was, in the article that was mentioned on Sky News in the UK, essentially it talks about the NSO spyware as well. They talk about that. You know, NSO is, again, we may have read about it earlier or heard about it. It was a spyware that was criticized because it's used by a lot of authoritarian regime. Some of them in the Middle East, actually, things like that, to spy on their citizens. It's global. It's not just that region. And then there was talks about some kind of password that was actually written in Chinese, Wuxianping Yu 507. Pardon my butchering of the language, but basically it means wireless access 507. So that leads to speculation that the Chinese government is behind some of those as well. And why would somebody hack a network? Well, because they basically have the data of all the citizens of a country, and they can also monitor communication. Now, maybe you and I are of no importance, no offense to you. You're important in your own world, but you're not important in terms of like strategic state asset or, commodities purchase, deal making, etc. Years ago, I mentioned that the Canadian data centers, that was back in 2014, were being hacked constantly by the Chinese for what they call deal data. Because Canada is a big country for commodity, oil and gas, gold, copper, etc. And essentially, a hacker can manipulate a stock market, knowing if a company is going to take over another resource, or if there has been an oil discovery in Sudan and so forth. It's crazy what the importance of data right now, and we underestimate our own data constantly.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's information, and information gives you power. And it seems like an attempt or a hacking, whatever, this big would have to be a state-sponsored thing, my guess is.
It would have to be, because it takes a lot of resources. So just the fact that you need technological advance and resources, it would be a state-sponsored hack. I mean, that would be my guess, essentially.
Yeah. So is there anything that can be done about this?
Well, it's very little. We are actually at Secure with our Helix technology, not using open source. We have a way to counter essentially spoofing and reading your text, etc., with our secure messenger. We're launching secure voice by the end of Q1, which is a revolutionary system that doesn't use voice over IP. So again, if you remember, we never ask for your phone number, so you don't exist in the eyes of a telco. Essentially, once you're able to use our voice system, you can make a call to anyone, whether they have secure or not, because you can invite them through a text link soon actually coming up. Somebody clicks and they can have a voice call with you. Their phone numbers are not being divulged, and we don't use voice over IP, which is a standard technology of all of these internet voice systems like WhatsApp and Telegram and everything else. And of course, it's going to be highly encrypted. It's stored only in Switzerland using our Helix encryption technology, which is not open source, and we don't host it on any of the big tech data. So that will probably be the only platform, or one of the very few in the world, that will guarantee you that your conversation remain private, because we don't data mine you. And I never say 100%, but I would say, fairly unhackable. We haven't been hacked successfully since our start in Geneva in 2007. So that's a pretty good record for not being hacked and being targeted a lot. So I would say that would be a solution. For example, it's going to be about $20 a month.
And I can only imagine that services like what you provide will be in huge demand, because it feels like this is where wars are going. Information technology, economic, like the economics that are gained through information technology. So is Secure able to accommodate a government? I know you do businesses, but explain that.
We do. We totally can. In fact, as a matter of fact, we just bought over $1 million worth of machine that we're shipping to Switzerland in January. We're dealing with a South Asian government before COVID, with their defense department, also a large bank. COVID kind of put the damper on that. Next year, I'm going back. We're going to reignite. We have governments in Latin America, defense departments, especially ministries and so forth, interested in our solution. They're waiting for the voice encryption. We're also launching something like Zoom, so a video conferencing tool. So yeah, governments can use it. You and I can use it. We don't discriminate. Whoever can pay our $20 a month, obviously, is more than welcome to use it. But governments are very keen, especially emerging markets, because in some countries that I will not name where I have been, for example, the finance department is hacked 1,000 times a month, which is unreal.
So thank you so much, Alon. I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Jane, and thanks everyone for watching us on this weekend.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to New to the Street. I'm Anna Berry, and this is your weekly Hack the Secure segment with Elaine Guy. And Elaine is with Globex Data, the leader in Swiss-hosted private and secure communications and data management. Welcome, Elaine.
Thank you, Anna. Happy to be here.
So everyone seems to be buying cryptocurrency these days, but that is actually opening us up to more threats, like this recent malware that targeted Windows 10. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so there was an article a couple of days ago on threatpost.com, which is one of those websites that talks about all the hacks that are happening and all that. And Windows 10 essentially is vulnerable through a malware that's kind of administered through a Chrome browser. I mean, it could be any browser. Essentially, hackers can get into your account. They call it a UAC, a user account control, and it bypassed the Microsoft cybersecurity protection, which is a big thing because Microsoft, I was reading, they're hiring, I think, something like 100,000 new cybersecurity specialists. But no matter how much you put, how much resource you put, when your source code has been stolen, like the SolarWinds hack, which another one happened not long ago, it's very hard to counter that. So Windows 10, which is the latest operating system on most PCs, I don't have a PC, but a lot of people use PCs, is essentially compromised. So what does that mean for you? It means that, anything you do, somebody can go in. If you send an email, for example, using your Outlook and using Windows 10 browser, etc., it's just all that info is being siphoned. And what the article says is that all your credentials, which is username and passwords, are being stolen, and a lot of cryptocurrencies are being stolen as well. I have read in the last 2 months, an average every 10 days, a platform is being hacked. Coinbase, for example, had, I don't know how many millions of people were hacked on that. And there's others as well. I don't know them all, but you read about that. So people think that they trade cryptocurrency, that is super safe, etc. But at the end of the day, you just go online. You also sometimes send an email, and that's the weak link as well. And the crypto platforms are not all protected as you may think.
Right. And this is not just a fad or a trend. This isn't going anywhere when it comes to buying cryptocurrency and plugging in our valuable information. So talk to us a little bit about secure and your secure messaging and your secure email and how we can keep our data safe, secure, and private.
Sure. So again, this is a Windows 10 issue, nothing wrong with cryptocurrencies, but a lot of people now trade cryptocurrencies, as you mentioned. They buy goods with it, right? So how do we do that? We still communicate in the old-fashioned way, which is your Gmail, your Yahoo, your Office 365. So what we do is we have a secure communication suite. It's $10 a month. You can go to secure.com and you can buy the email and messaging application, or soon enough, we're launching email only. The advantage of using Secure, and I recommend that people use the webmail, because we have a lot of people that say, does it synchronize with Outlook? Well, it does. But it defeats the purpose to buy a highly encrypted Swiss private email service and wanting to use your credentials on Microsoft, right? So this is a parallel email. It's not a replacement to your Outlook or your Gmail. It's a parallel email. We don't use any big tech platform. I would recommend use webmail only, which is you go to mail.secure.com, you put your username and password. In this case, your username is your email and your password. And those emails are only stored in Switzerland. They don't fly all over the internet. We don't have any open source coding. We have never been hacked since we started the company in Switzerland in the early 2000s. So we have a great track record. And the best part is you can email someone that doesn't have Secure. They get an email with a link, which you can password protect if you want. And there's a few features there. And the person clicks and they can reply using Secure Reply. All of that communication stays only in Switzerland, as opposed to sending back and forth encryption keys, which will be hacked over the net. So that's a big difference. And the recipient doesn't need to have Secure. So if you're doing any kind of business transaction, financial transaction, maybe you're going to email your mortgage broker, I don't know, anything. Doesn't have to be cryptocurrency. We can't help Microsoft and Windows 10, but what we can do is we can help people saying, listen, if you use Secure and you're on a webmail, you're pretty much safe. I never say 100% because it's going to jinx it. But that's what I do. That's what our entire company does. People love it. We're also launching an email application on Secure Mail in late January, mid-February. So you'll be able to sign up, simply download and use your device with the same webmail feature like Secure Send. So it's critical to use a protected communication platform. I can't stress that enough.
Elaine, I have to ask, how is it possible that your technology has not been hacked yet?
Well, I credit two big things. First of all, we are not hosted on any of the big platforms, the big tech, Amazon Web Service, Microsoft, Google, which are really the biggest three platforms, essentially, where 99.9% of all software is hosted. And we did that by choice over 10 years ago. It's expensive to do it, but we're happy we did it. So the developers that develop on these platforms, there's millions of them, don't know how to get into ours. That's one thing. We also don't use open source coding, which 99.85% of all software is on. And open source coding it was great 10 years ago when you had collaborative effort with many developers working on the same software. But when you use open source, let's say you create a new application for privacy or anything, you have to deploy the code, and because a GDL license forces you to essentially put that code in the public, a hacker can come and reverse engineer it and maybe copy it. You also have hackers that disguise as good developers that work on these open source, and then they kind of know how to get in later. They get to know all the weaknesses. So we don't have any open source. We have our own team for more than a decade, all shareholders of the company. And we're stored in Switzerland with multiple redundancies of security. And of course, we don't data mine here. So, if you're not going to rent your data to someone for somebody else to use it, there's less hacking to start. If you don't use open source, well, people won't be able to get in. And then if you use your own platform, you reduce hackers by more than 99%, right? It's because it's a platform they don't know. There's not many people on it. So, so far we've had a great record. We have multiple redundancy. Our virtual vault technology makes it that in the unlikely event we get hacked, it's not going to infect the whole database. It's per user. So each user is independently protected like a moat, like several moats around each user. And that's why we spend a ton of money on our processing power. And that's why we have to charge you, $5 to $10 a month, because how else are we going to make money? We don't sell your data. So.
And
that was a long answer to a short question.
It's okay.
Hopefully,
all upfront fees. And so it seems that if anyone's out there buying or trading cryptocurrency, this is a great technology to have to keep your data safe. But it's really for the everyday person, the everyday business person, so young and old, so that we can all keep our data private, secure, and safe.
Absolutely. Young and old, anyone. Again, this is not replacing your email. It's not attaching. It's a completely separate email or messaging. If you do crypto trading and all that, I would recommend you use Secure, because you already have an awareness of privacy and security. You want to use the best in the market, which is, we believe we are the best in the market in that.
All right. Well, as always, learned so much from you with our weekly hack segment. Thank you so much, Elaine, for joining us again on New to the Street.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you everyone for watching us.